folks! These videos are spending a lot of time discussing how to design courses with your students' mental illness or mental health in mind. There's another important member in the teaching and learning equation, which is you as the instructor. And so your own mental health is an important consideration when designing your course. Because you have your own life going on and you might have your own mental illness diagnosis. So the first thing to keep in mind is to think about and set boundaries. I find instructors, they care so much about their students, so sometimes they aren't as good at setting those boundaries. They're available all of the time. We have this technology where you can email and respond at any time, at any point, and not just in education, but throughout our whole lives, we're not always good at setting those boundaries. But as an instructor, for your own mental health, it's important to you to think about when are you going to be available and when are you not going to be available. You don't need to be available on weekends or evenings if that's really a time that you need to take to recharge so that you can be better for your students when you are on. Also, letting your students know, might take me 24 hours to get back to you during the week, but 48 hours on weekends or something like that. But thinking about what are those boundaries, when are those moments where you need to take that time to recharge and refresh. The other component about this is you're actually modeling really healthy behavior for your students, which your students really need to see because they might not be seeing it in other places. So setting the boundary is really great for you, but it's actually great for your students as well, so that you are modeling that behavior. The next thing is that once you know what those boundaries are, set the expectation for your students about what to expect. So if you're not going to be around on Saturday evenings, make that known. Maybe you put that in your syllabus. Maybe if you have live sessions, whether in person or in a Zoom call, tell your students, I'm not going to be around on Saturdays. I'll get back to you in 24 hours. But setting those expectations so that your students know what to expect, maybe, you make an exception here or there, but that's the expectation. You've told it to them so that when a student comes to you and you can't make the exception, you can say, well, I did let you know. The third thing is to know what resources your school has available to you. Because another component of setting boundaries is that as much as you want to help your students, sometimes your students might bring you with something that's really above and beyond what you're able to do, and that they really need more professional support. So those could be a bevy of things. So with mental illness, it could be something like, are there counseling services available for your students? If it's something that's more, surrounding something like sexual harassment, if it's higher education, what are the Title IX supports for your students? Also, if this is a student that you feel like might benefit from some sort of accommodation, whether it's for mental illness or it's for something else, know what's that disability accommodation office that you can put your students in touch with. So knowing what resources are available when, maybe you've been chatting and you've really been enjoying the conversation, but the conversation is just starting to get a little bit outside of your reach, know what other resources are available for them. Again, this is maybe something that you put on your syllabus or you talk to them about in the first week of class, or it's maybe something you just, handle as a case by case and just have it in your back pocket if the conversation moves that way. The other thing to just think about when you're designing your course is not assigning assignments during that period of time that you have set a boundary for. So if you're not going to be available on that Saturday night example, don't have something due on Saturday night at midnight. Because then if a student is struggling, they maybe have an issue with technology or something like that, you're going to be getting emails looking for support when you've told your students you're not going to be available. So think about assigning due dates and things like that mindfully around the boundaries that you have created. The final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is to just be kind and compassionate to yourself. I find instructors, they care so much and they want to design these courses that have thought about every single component, and maybe it's incorporated every aspect of universal design learning, and that's really great and wonderful, but there's so many things to consider with course design, and especially your first time teaching a course, there's just no way that you can incorporate everything, and you're also going to learn so much after you teach it and every other time you teach it as well. So start simple, start small, bear some of these things in mind that I mentioned in my videos, but you don't need to incorporate anything and everything your first go round. Be compassionate to yourself. Don't get so tied up in being perfect, and know that you will be learning about this as your students are learning what you're trying to teach them.